Hello everyone, OG Roz here. One moment. So if you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you won't miss an upload. I hadn't planned on going live tonight, but I just felt compelled to. Got a lot on my heart. Said, hey, who knows? Somebody else might be feeling the same way I do. And they just looking for that right YouTube video that they can relate to. So if you are here tonight, welcome. Welcome to the channel. It wasn't by accident. All right. So I'm sure everybody knows by now that just about everybody, every YouTube channel you go to, somebody is saying something about the Michael Jackson biopic, about Jafar, about the BET awards last night, and about Jafar, and some of the other cast members and other Jackson family members. So when there's nothing else to look at, I just keep seeing things pop up. Like, oh, let me click on this. Maybe it's something I haven't seen yet. And I was watching this one YouTube channel video where it was talking about the coroner who the medical examiner that performed the autopsy on Michael. And I was just kind of watching it, and all this sadness just came over me. And it's not like I know the man personally, because I don't. Never met him a day in my life. Never even had the opportunity to go to any of his concerts. And I'm like, what was I thinking? But I was just feeling like his story seemed like just the saddest story that I've ever heard. It seems like his whole life was just one thing after the other. He didn't get a moment to be happy before something bad happened. And it seemed like his whole journey was just cursed from the beginning. And it's like, wow, for somebody that was so talented and so generous and kind, not that he wasn't perfect. I know he wasn't perfect. None of us are. But I'm just saying, it's a lot. We're all imperfect. But yet there's still some people that are just very kind-hearted, angelic-like individuals. I said like, because there's no angels on earth, not in human form. But let me get into this, because I had been thinking, was there ever a time he was truly happy? It seems like his story is just a story of pain and suffering. And in the end, was it even all worth it? You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, singing seemed like it was something new and exciting, and he just was naturally born with that gift. And then at some point, when Joe Jackson realized he had a gift, it was no longer a gift, it was work. It was no longer fun, it was work now. It was the pressure of satisfying your father, or you're going to get the living daylights beaten out of you. So this bit, I'm not putting down anybody. I got spanked, but let me not go there. Let me just get through this video before I run out of voice. So, have you ever looked at someone's smile and wondered what was hiding behind it? When the world looked at Michael, they saw the king of pop. They saw sold out stadiums. They saw him doing the moonwalk at Motown 25. They saw the Grammy Awards, the fame, the wealth, a legend, and someone who was successful in his career. But behind that smile, was there peace? Or was Michael searching for something the world could never give him? So we're not here to judge, but we're here to remember the man behind the myth, because his story reminds us that money, fame, and applause cannot heal a wounded heart. Well, Michael's journey began with incredible talent. As a little boy in Gary, Indiana, he captivated audiences with a voice that seemed heaven sent. And he loved to sing, he loved to dance. Those early Motown years were filled with excitement, family success, and dreams coming true. And there were moments of genuine joy. Watching fans scream his name, laughing backstage with his brothers, creating music that would change the world forever. When Off the Wall exploded, when Thriller became the biggest selling album in history, when children smiled because of his generosity, when he visited hospitals and he gave millions to charities, those moments mattered. People who worked closely with Michael described him as playful. He loved practical jokes. He loved cartoons. He loved animals. He loved making children laugh. And he dreamed of creating Neverland Ranch because he wanted a place where children, and perhaps the child inside himself, could simply feel safe and happy. But every beautiful story also has chapters filled with sorrow. Michael spoke many times about being disciplined harshly by his father during rehearsals. whether every memory was exactly as he remembered it or not. He consistently described feeling frightened and emotionally wounded. I mean, his father wouldn't even allow him to call him dad. The little boy who entertained millions never really got to experience an ordinary childhood. And as the years passed, success became heavier. The pressure became greater. The expectations became impossible. Then the victory tour. During the victory tour, tensions within the family became public. Business disagreements, strained relationships, trust became harder to find. Then came 1984, the Pepsi commercial accident. A burst of fireworks changed his life forever. The burns were real, the pain was real. That accident is also believed to have contributed to his long term use of prescription pain medications. Then came the endless rumors, jokes, mockery. People laughed at his appearance while he was living with vitiligo, an autoimmune condition that changed his skin color. Many assumed the worst instead of asking what he was going through. Then came the child sexual abuse allegations. And Michael consistently denied abusing children, and the legal cases had different outcomes. He was acquitted on all criminal charges in 2005, while one earlier civil case was settled without an admission of guilt. And some say that's the worst mistake he could have made. Was to settle that case. But he was advised to. So he trusted and he took the advice. But regardless of what people believe about those controversies, there is little doubt that the investigations, media scrutiny, and years of public attention took an enormous emotional toll. His marriage to Lisa Marie Presley, it failed. His marriage to Debbie Rowe ended. But I really don't think they had intended to remain married. It was just like it to mine it just was like a business arrangement. Family relationships were sometimes strained too. And on top of all of that, his sister Latoya publicly accused him during one period before later saying she had been pressured and reconciling with him. His battle with Sony became one of the biggest disputes of his career. He believed powerful people in the music industry were working against him. Whether performing before thousands or sitting alone in a hotel room, fame could not protect him from loneliness. He didn't know who he could trust. The crowds got louder, yet the silence inside may have grown deeper. Near the end of his life, Michael was preparing for what he hoped would be a triumphant comeback. He wanted to perform. He wanted to create. And he wanted people to remember the music. And he said he wanted to do it while he was still young enough to do it, and while his kids were old enough to appreciate it and to recognize what he was doing. But there were so many people that did not have his best interest at heart. It was just a money grab. Everybody was trying to line their pockets. So they pretty much was like they were just beating a dead horse. Like just sucked the life out of him like a vampire. They didn't care that he was 50 years old. They didn't care about the pain that he was going through all the time. After so many injuries, his body wasn't the same anymore. And it's like they were just going to suck him dry. They could care less about his well being, his health. It was just all greed. And on June 25th, 2009, the world stood still. Millions of people mourned. Fans cried across every continent. It felt impossible that someone so larger than life could be gone. So, and just to know that the difference between before that everything went downhill to when he started to deteriorate, like he had lost the will to live. He wasn't eating properly. He couldn't sleep. He just started depending on medications and would do anything to get them. And he would be willing to put his life at risk for the sake of these medications. And he had children by this time. And I think that gave him some happiness, but it still was not enough to keep him alive. So was Michael Jackson ever happy? Well, I believe there were moments of laughter, moments with his children, moments creating music, moments helping people. I really enjoy watching the videos of him and Chris Tucker together. And just the funny stories, and just seeing him be silly and just be the Michael that I remember back in the Thriller times. That at some point he just, a part of his child, the child in him died, and he lost his innocence. It seems like the Michael we first fell in love with, like that part of him had died already. I mean, he had moments when he helped people, and I feel like that made him happy. And moments when he forgot about the cameras and simply became Michael again. But happiness that depends on circumstances comes and goes because your circumstances are constantly changing. Things can be good one moment and horrible in the next. And the Bible teaches something deeper, though, not just happiness, but peace. Jesus said in John 14, verse 27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world gives. I give unto you, I'm sorry, let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." Don't worry, I will put the scriptures in the description box below. So fame cannot give that peace. Money cannot buy it. Awards cannot produce it either. Even millions of fans cannot fill the emptiness only God can satisfy. Psalms 34, verse 18, it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That promise isn't only for celebrities, it's for all of us. Some of you watching may feel invisible. I know I do sometimes. You may smile in public while crying in private. Yeah. People may admire your success but never see your pain. God sees both, and He cares, and He understands. He sees the mistreatment. Michael Jackson's story is more than the story of a superstar. It's a reminder that every person, whether famous or unknown, needs love, grace, forgiveness, and hope. If his life teaches us anything, it's that we should be quicker to show compassion than condemnation, kinder than cruel, more willing to pray than to gossip. Because behind every headline, there is a human soul. And Michael Jackson, even though he was one of the greatest entertainers that ever lived, did you pray for him? Forget having to know him and be able to reach out to him by phone or whatever. Did you pray for him? We need to pray for each other. We need to pray for Jafar, or they are going to come after him. Soon as they recognize him as a little money-making machine, they're gonna be after him like white on rice. Jafar, come do this, come do that. He's green right now. He can do whatever he wants to do at this point. He's a star now. He's a star. But the greatest victory isn't becoming famous. It's finding the one who knows your name before the world ever learns it. Now, I want to talk about the entertainment industry. Michael Jackson's story isn't just about one man, it's a warning. The entertainment industry can reward extraordinary talent, but it can also demand an extraordinary price. Behind the bright lights are relentless schedules, intense public scrutiny, pressure to remain relevant, financial interests, and the constant feeling that your worth depends on your next hit, your next performance, or your next headline. Not everyone experiences the industry the same way, but history is filled with artists who have spoken about loneliness, exploitation, addiction, burnout, broken relationships, and the emotional toil of fame. The applause can be deafening, yet when the curtain falls, many artists return to empty hotel rooms, exhausted minds, and hearts longing for genuine love and acceptance. But as Christians, we should remember that success is not the same as significance. Success is not the same as significance. Jesus asked a question that still echoes today. For Mark 8:36, for what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? The world teaches us to chase fame. God calls us to chase him. The world tells us that being known by millions is the ultimate goal. But the Bible tells us there is something far greater: to be known by God. So if you're watching this and dreaming of becoming famous, don't just pray for talent. Pray for wisdom. Pray for discernment. Pray for godly people around you who will tell you the truth, protect your heart, and remind you who you are when the applause fades. Never sacrifice your character for your career. Never trade your peace for popularity. Never trade your soul for success. Because when the camera stops rolling, only one opinion truly matters: the Lord's. So we should pray for every artist, every actor, every musician, every entertainer, and every person working behind the scenes, that they will find truth, healing, and the peace that only Jesus Christ can give. And that's I think, even though Michael knew God, but did he really know God? Did he know where his help come from? Did he look to God for healing and peace? 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. All right. So it wasn't too bad, but I just feel so sad for what happened to Michael. And I just wish that I would have loved to have been his friend. And I mean, treat him like a human being, which is what he was. He was a human being that has needs, just like everybody else, who wants to be accepted and loved, and heard. But I would have loved to have been his friend and to tell him about Jesus. And I hope that when he passed away, I hope and pray that he made it, that his name was in the Lamb's Book of Life. Because only God really knows. Right? So I want to thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell if you are interested in this type of content. And check out some of my other content where I talk about the Bible and transformation and other topics. All right, so have a blessed rest of your day.